It's important to recognize how your partner says I'm sorry, or how even people that you work with apologize for their mistakes, or what contributions they had to a particular conflict. Because how an argument ends is very crucial. All right. It can be detrimental to the relationship is what it can be. And so we need to be able to recognize when that olive branch is being extended to us. Like sometimes it comes in the form of an apology. I'm sorry. I myself personally don't like that word. It has, in the Army, we're taught that I'm sorry has a zero maximum effect. It's what my first sergeant used to tell me. Like, don't say I'm sorry. It's the worst thing you could do is just say I'm sorry, show me that you're sorry. Put some wings on that, some action to that is what you do.
What would that look like, in your opinion? What would that look like to put wings on I'm sorry?
So for me, that's behavior change is what that is. That is doing something different than what you've done in the past. All right. That's how I know that you're truly sorry, and not just sorry, but you are repentant. All right. That you are really serious about changing that offensive behavior, or whatever that wound or that slight was. And so when you say I'm sorry, you actually are doing something instead of just saying I'm sorry.
It's a 180 turn in the other direction versus a 360. I'm sorry, but go right back to where
you were. Yes, sir. Yeah. Absolutely. So you got to find out, and the best way to do that is to really ask the other person. Especially when you talk about deep, meaningful relationships, it's important for you to know what your friend's apology language is. It's important for you to know what your significant other, your spouse, your children, the people that you do life with, to know what that is.
What makes that different why is that different for different people?
Well, I think when we talk about men and women, for example, genders, women typically, they have a whole lot of words. And so it's not a problem to articulate, I'm sorry. All right. For guys, we sort of just grunt. It's what we do. We don't have a whole lot of words. And so we're not going to fix up this beautiful apology, typically. And I say that typically because there are those exceptions to the norm. But, we will say, I'm sorry about, hey, I fixed, something on the honey-to-do list is what we'll do. Or I gassed up your car last night, or this morning or something like that. And that's how guys typically say, I'm sorry. And so it's important because we think and we process differently as men and women. It's important to know what those apology languages are because they are different, from person to person. Yeah.
Good deal. Number 7. You say give a face-saving way out. You said this is what you said in the video, let people retreat with dignity. Don't make them lose face just so you can feel like you've won.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So when we talk about fighting, I mentioned earlier, is this attempt to be validated. And when we talk about validation, I am aware that a lot of us have a misnomer about what validation is. Validation is not agreeing that the person is right or that the person is wrong.
Right.
Validation is just hearing them out. It's attempting to understand. It's putting in the work of empathy so you can try to understand where they come from. And so if I'm validating you, if I'm allowing this face-saving, opportunity to walk away, to get out of this disagreement, I'm going to add empathy is what I'm going to do by just validating and letting you know that I hear you. And it doesn't mean that I have to agree or disagree, but that's how we literally decrease the stress and the anxiety that comes along with a conflict or an argument, is by validating the person, letting them know that we hear them, allowing them to be able to retreat with dignity from that conversation.
Would that be the same thing as active listening or attunement as well? That sort of thing?
Absolutely. I operate from what I call the OARS. So OARS, using those open-ended statements, affirming that person. Those open-ended statements or questions are to gather more information, just to try to listen and to hear, and then you affirm them and say, so it sounds like I'm hearing you say. You repeat back to them what you think you're hearing them say. You're affirming, that you appreciate them talking about this and expressing their concerns. And then so OARS, OAR, and then the R is for just sort of restating back again what you've heard from the conversation. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the S is summarizing what the plan is for moving forward. And so this is that active listening where you let a person know, because a lot of times there's this disconnect from what is being said and what is being heard. And so when you practice that active listening technique, you give people a chance to actually hear what you thought you heard them say. And then give them a chance to say, yes, that's right, or no, that's wrong. And so using the OARS, the open-ended questions, the affirmation, the reflection, and then the summary, it allows us to make sure that we have a clear, concise, mutual understanding of the information that's being exchanged back and forth.
Yeah. And we're going to come back to that conversation. That's point 9 as well. But I know that they're closely tied into there. But if we're actually letting somebody retreat and not lose face, using that method, how does that look in a little more detail, if you don't mind?
So allow a person to say, I'm sorry. Allow them to leave with dignity from a conversation, however they say that I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It may not always be the way that you want it to be. That's why it's important to learn what their apology language is. That doesn't mean that you've forgotten it. It doesn't mean that it's over with because they apologize for it. But it's something that truly bothers you. And the test to that is I tell people to journal, write it down, sleep on it. If you wake up in the morning and it's still an issue that resonates with you, then you need to have a deep, meaningful conversation about that. It's what you need to do. All right. You need to flesh that out and to really explain what the problem is to that person, because, 9 times out of 10, I don't believe people are inherently evil or bad. They don't know how important that is for you. So if you could explain that to them, I'm confident that you can get some wings, some wheels on that toward change when you explain to them how hurt you are, how disappointed you are about a particular situation or an issue that has happened. And so that's how we allow them to leave allow it to be over with right then and there. Mm-hmm. Then find out just how important it is to you by sleeping on it, waking up the next day and seeing if it still resonates with you. And if it does, then that's where you add more structure to that conversation, not just, any time of the day, anywhere you're having that conversation, but you literally add boundaries around that conversation to address that issue.
What I love about that is I'm hearing that you're not like seeking a full resolution of the whatever in the moment. You're actually seeking growth. You're in it for the long-term growth and relationship building versus just trying to figure out, okay, who's going to win this one?
Mm-hmm. Because when we have these fights, it's not about a competition. All right.
Yeah.
It's a partnership. I mean, especially when you talk about your staff, your team at work. It's not about winning or losing. At least I'm going to say, unless, you're part of the NBA league or, or something like that, then it is literally winning and losing, for the other team. But when we're on the same team, though, for example, we talk about a husband and a wife. If my wife loses a fight, I'm the biggest loser of all. I am. My children have lost. All right. If my wife wins a fight, I'm a winner. My children are a winner. So it's a partnership. It's not a competition. And so when you approach it from that standpoint, it really lends more grace, more empathy, an attempt to really understand and to try to build toward cohesiveness is what it does. When you approach an argument, especially with somebody that you care about, and I'm talking about it can be in a work situation or in an intimate relationship situation. When you approach it from that standpoint, you understand that there doesn't have to be a winner or a loser, because when it does, that makes it a competition.